This video should come with a disclaimer that your girl is hella tired. I mean, more than usual. So, I apologise for any strange, chaotic energy in this video. Hi everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome back to my channel. How are you all? I hope you're all enjoying autumn, the reader's season. I've got my coziest jumper on. The clocks have changed here in England, so the nights are dark now, very early. But it's a good time to get cozy with some good books, and I'm here to do my non-fiction member TBR. Yes, I am. And I'm sure everyone knows this, but it's a month-long readathon hosted by the mighty Olive from A Book Olive, and you just basically have to read some non-fiction books. At the moment, I'm doing quite well in reading one non-fiction book a month for my TBR, but let's be honest, that's not particularly inspiring. So I'm going to try and read mainly non-fiction books this month. Ideally, I would like to read 5 off my TBR. At the moment, it's on 2021, so that would be nice, but we'll see. Let me get into it. Oh, and also there are prompt words that you can relate to these books. Some of these books fit and some of them don't. So they are style, industry, collection, and treatment. Yes. So one that doesn't particularly relate to any of those is Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Look at this cover. I love it. Oh my gosh. I guess there's a kind of industry because it's about Henry living in this place called Walden in Massachusetts, or near a pond called Walden, I think, and he just builds himself a wooden house to live in. So there's industry in that. Let's give him some credit. And he just, I think for 2 years, just saw if he could live outside of society, basically. And even though I think this is seasonally split up, it feels like a nice time to read it because this is the time I want to be a hedgehog and hibernate. So I'm excited to read this because it's a classic. I've never read anything by him before. Then a very quick read, the first of the books that is featured from my good friend Emily from a belated birthday present is Virginia Woolf quotes from a feminist icon. So this will take me no time at all to read because it is literally just some quotes, but I love her writing and I'm sure I will enjoy over the years looking back through this and getting a boost whenever I need just some reassurance from Virginia. Yes. And then another book that my good friend Emily bought me is Citizen, an American Lyric by Claudia Rankine. And I haven't read this, but I've heard great things. And even though it is poetry, it also I think has aspects that are kind of like essay or memoir. So I'm counting this for the style prompt because it also has quite a lot of pictures, and I probably won't be able to find it now, like this throughout. So it does feel very curated, and stylistically as a book it's very interesting and different to even most poetry that I read by the looks of things. So that'd be great. And then in terms of treatment, I'm going to read The Holocaust by Lawrence Reeves because I like a fun time. And he has spent 25 years talking to perpetrators and survivors of the Holocaust. So this is like his magnum opus of all those experiences. And I don't know if I'll finish all of this, but it's one of those books that actually just isn't as long as it looks. It's 430 pages, which isn't too bad, even if the print is quite small actually. But I'm just sort of, as I've said before, morbidly fascinated by this. It is what it says in the tin. I don't say I'll enjoy it, but I'm happy to be educated about something that I think is very important to read about. And then, just for fun, I don't think this really fits any of the prompts particularly, I'm going to read 1,000 Years of Annoying the French by Stephen Clark. I cannot wait for this. This is probably the one I want to read the most, so I'm going to start it soon because it's a chunker, but it starts looking at history from 1066 onwards and looking at in each chapter a different period of history. I just go through chronologically, and at the back says, was the Battle of Hastings a French victory? No! William the Conqueror was a Norman, and it is the French. Were the Brits really responsible for the death of Joan of Arc? No! The French sentenced her to death for wearing trousers. Was the guillotine a French invention? No! It was invented in Yorkshire. So it just sounds like it's going to be quite myth-busting and just fun history, which I will probably need when I'm reading this. So it's good. It's a good balance. It's a good balance. And then a book that my good friend Karen bought me is We Need New Stories, Challenging the Toxic Myths Behind Our Age of Discontent by Nesreen Malik. And it is kind of what it says in the tin. It's her writing about kind of the age of discontent and the idea that freedom of speech is under threat and political correctness is taking over, and just kind of dispelling this myth and looking at how we can move forward or how we can connect in a positive way in the people that we should be listening to. So I heard her on a podcast talking about this book and I just thought it sounded great, and it's nice to read a book that sounds like it has more kind of solutions or at least positive outlooks rather than talking about what is wrong with the world. Don't we all need a bit of that? Yes, we do. And then the 3 random books that I picked are... Oh, that was not smooth. Divided, Why We're Living in an Age of Walls by Tim Marshall, The Seabirds Cry by Adam Nicholson, or To Be a Machine by Mark O'Connell. And I'm going to be honest, I recognise my TBR is out of control this month, so I've got to prioritise, and this is the one that's going to win. I do want to read these, obviously, but this one is just piquing my interest at the moment. It's a book, one of the first ones actually, about the concept of transhumanism, which is the scientific endeavour to improve humans through technology. And I think it's partly about immortality, but also just about helping our brains function at a higher level. I don't know how technical it's going to be, how accessible it will be, or if it will just be quite scientific, but it sounded fascinating, and it came out about 4 years ago now, and it was just up for all the non-fiction prizes, so I really hope I get time for this one. Then the last non-fiction book that I have that I'll probably also read an audiobook is What We're Told Not to Talk About, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Women's Voices from East London to Ethiopia by Nimco Ali, and this is 42 women from 14 countries, and they are talking about their experiences that are grouped together in 4 chapters. So there's periods, orgasms, pregnancy and the menopause. Very excited to see the menopause chapter. I don't think that's talked about enough. I mean, all that stuff really isn't talked about enough, but I just think this will be hopefully an empowering feminist read. I hadn't heard of this before, but it would be nice to get different women's perspectives. I tend to like verbatim things. So that's all the non-fiction, and there being me, there are a few others I just want to try and sneak in there. So the short story collection that I really want to try and read this month is The Cop and the Anthem and Other Stories by O. Henry, who I really hadn't heard of, but turns out he's pretty damn famous as an American 20th century short story writer, and the short stories are short. There's like 26 of them in here, which is fantastic because I'm going to read it quicker, and who knows if I get on with him, but I think it sounds like a fun time, and it sounds like there's a real variety of settings and characters in here, so that'll be fun, hopefully. And then I'm going to buddy read with Dina from Heligo, I'll link her below, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vyong, who I really feel like everyone's raved about and has read apart from me. And this is a letter written from a son to a mother. The son's called Little Dog, and the mother cannot read, and it's him talking about their family history and Vietnam and how the effects of war have affected their family, but then also about there's some kind of revelation, who knows what it is, to his mother, and sharing parts of his life with her. And I just think it sounds pretty beautiful because they're a poet, so it should be exquisite prose. That's what I am expecting. And then I know this is a lot. The 2 Booktube spin books that I got from the latest spin were Exit West by Mohsin Hamid and Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. And I know it's a lot, so you can consider reading something else, but this is short, it has big print, and this is not short and doesn't have big print, but I really want to read it because it's on my 30 before 30 list. I just really think I'm going to love it. I tend to enjoy books with multiple narrators, but it sounds very complex. It's 6 interlocking lives, but it goes over a lot of time, and I don't understand how it's all going to work. I might try and read a little bit at a time, but we'll see. I probably not going to get to these, but just thought I'd mention them and whack them in, because why not? Because at this point, it's already unrealistic, so why not just make it more unrealistic? Am I right? And then last but not least, the last book my girlfriend Emily bought me is Deaf Republic by, I don't know how to say their name, Ilya Kaminsky. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce their first name, but this is such a lauded poetry collection that begins in, I think it's a situation where a deaf child or deaf person is shot, and it's about the people around that who are affected, I think, and it just sounds like it's a very searing portrait of the world and violence and how people react or don't react to violence, and your complicity in situations when you don't defend someone. It sounds wonderful and inclusive in the sense that there's a lot of sign language used in here, and there are actual hand symbols like this, which I just think is incredible, and so good to see this being published and doing well in the world. So there is my mammoth TBR. Goodness knows how many books I'm going to get through, but I think overall I'm most excited to read 1,000 Years of Annoying the French, and probably also A Citizen. I am really sure I'm going to get to both of these. I'm manifesting it. I'm going to read this chunker, and I'm manifesting that I might even start this one. I'm going to be successful reading this month. Although one is successful reading. Okay, we're not going to get into that. I'm too tired for this. I need to go home. I am home. I need to go and have a gin. Maybe that's not a good idea. I'm going to go now. I hope that you're having an A-OK day. I never say that. That was weird. Janet, finish the video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. More bigger shenanigans. Bye. Oh, let's do Janet. What on earth was that ending?